Friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope that you're doing great, you're staying healthy, and you're staying warm where you need to be. Today I'm in short sleeves. I wasn't when I woke up, but I am now, and I'm going to share into how that happened because it is winter out and it's cool out. But the temps are actually going back up, so it's warmer outside. It's kind of crazy. And for those of you who do not like cool temperatures like the 30s, you might think I'm crazy because right now I'm warm when I go outside. So what I wanted to share today was a little bit about supplements and how to be careful. And there's a reason that I'm sharing this. We all want to be healthy. And for myself, the more I get away from processed foods, the more I get away from using actual supplements from companies. And there's only a few things that I use. And it's from a brand that I really trust. And I've had no response to in the past. It's like vitamin D with K, and I use that in the winter months. I take zinc, and I try to get my vitamin C in nutrient form of herbs, and also other foods that I consume. I'm an advocate for eating healthy from the foods that we consume and using the vegetables and the fruit and protein from real animals, not processed in terms of made up meat. You know, if you're going to have a steak, have it real. That's just my opinion. And I realize a lot of people feel that having steak from a cow is horrible, or bacon from, how can you say no to bacon? Well, anyways, we all have choices, so there's no judgment if you choose you would rather have those alternate meat protein sources. I don't begrudge anybody of that. Now, before I continue, I have to remind you, I am not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I am somebody who is doing her best to try to live as naturally as possible with healthy foods without additives. That's not to say that we might consume something that doesn't work for us. Now, there are some foods that I can't, like cilantro. I can't have that because I break out. I break out in sweat, my face flares up, all of that. So I avoid cilantro. What do I do in place of cilantro? I use parsley. So if I'm making something that needs that green, I just use parsley in place of it. It's as simple as that. And I have slowly been able to incorporate basil back in my diet. And that was a hard sell for me when my allergist said that, Laura, you can't have basil, you can't have this. And so I can bake it in my food. But this past summer, I just ripped off a leaf of basil because it smelled so good and intoxicating that I had a bite. And my husband came around, he goes, "You're not supposed to eat that raw." And I'm like, "Oh, you're right." But you know what? I had no reaction. So I thought, oh, my body is actually healing because I've gone through a lot of stuff. And the less I'm on different things, the better my body's getting. But I think, I'm not sure, I'm hoping a doctor can clarify if, you know, it's sometimes we try things to improve. Well, what I want to first share is that if you are taking supplements, please do your due diligence on the manufacturer. A lot of supplements nowadays, you go into, and it's been years since I've been into Target. I don't shop there anymore. I haven't shopped there in 5 years. And I haven't shopped at, I have gone into Walmart, but I never go into that aisle because I'm going in for hard goods like candy jars, or we might need oil or something like that. So I rarely go into those stores. And I never go into the area where supplements are. The pharmacy I go to, it's a small mom and pop type pharmacy. It's not the big ones like okay, I can say this because everybody knows there's CVS, there's Rite Aid, there's all of those. I don't go into those, and I haven't been in those in years. And the reason is the customer service is just not up to par. A small pharmacy is always far superior. If you've experienced it, you know. And so you don't always get every prescription, but for the most part, the majority of them, they do carry. But you go into a small pharmacy, family pharmacy, their supplement section, you know, I could stretch one arm out and that's all they have. That's as much supplements that they might have. You go into a Target or a Walmart and it stretches. And I think part of the reason I stopped well, actually I got a little disheartened, was one time I was in there and one aisle, so you have two sides to the aisle, one side are all gummies. Now, I don't know how you feel about it. I know it's easier for some people to swallow their vitamins if they chew them, but they also have a sticky residue that gets on your teeth, and so I never liked them. I never gave my kids sticky food per se. Once in a while at Halloween they got it for whatever, or at Easter or something, but I didn't like buying them. They mostly got them from my mother-in-law when she did little things for them. But once in a while, my kids would say, Mom, I really like this, so as a treat I would do that. But I stopped doing those because I didn't like how much I felt like they had to brush their teeth, and I don't like it. So maybe it was a personal thing. I hope not, but that wasn't my intent, because we baked cookies, we did all that stuff. I'm not making up excuses, I'm just saying it's not my preference. But when I go into a vitamin aisle and half of it is all gummies, I kind of question, what is the motive? And I feel as though, and I could be wrong, the motive is how to get people to keep consuming these gummy things, how to get people to buy into using supplements. Now, total transparency, before I had Lyme disease, I would say maybe 10 years prior to finally being diagnosed, I was using supplements, and I used a lot. And my kids had them. One daughter hated them. My husband used them. And I just started cutting back, and I told my doctor at the time, she asked me what supplements, I said I cut them all out. And she said, why? I said, because I find that if I can get the nutrients in my food, why am I consuming all this in pill form? And she said to me, she goes, I'm glad you came to that conclusion on your own, because that's true. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about that she didn't talk about, because I don't think it was as big of an issue as it is today. One of my concerns is when I am reading up, and I read all the time, the first hour of my day is I'm reading things from emails that I get from different people, and there's some people that are in the market to sell supplements. I don't buy any of their products, and I'll tell you why. It's because if you're giving me information on how to improve my health, then I don't want to be sold another product. I went to a physician, I'll think of the name. I went to her, a naturalist, and I went to her to kind of like find out, because one of the things I've been struggling with is my weight. As we get older, more so women, we have a hard time losing weight. And so I went to her, and she was just like, oh, you got to take this, and you got to take this, and all these things that are going on. And you know what? A lot of what she said made sense to me. But I didn't want to go on supplements, but she had some that she was selling. And I'm like, and I really love this doctor. She's a smart woman. She's sweet. She listens. She takes the time. But the one part that she didn't listen to is I asked her, what in my diet am I missing? Don't tell me to take this supplement and it will solve everything. Because one thing she asked me to do one time was to take something. And I had a major reaction to it. And she goes, well, I guess it just doesn't work for you. And that happens with our pharmaceutical meds too. Doctors are doing their best to try to make people feel well. That's why we go to them. But sometimes those medications have side effects. They have ingredients in that we don't know. So I'm really careful about what supplements I take. And I'm not going to, I have it in front of me, I'm not going to share the name of the supplement that I have here. One of the things, and I bought this a few months back because I'm really struggling with this weight loss. But it's called Healthy Fat Burner. And I've got fat in my stomach, and I've got fat in my legs because of the weight that I've gained over the few years. Stress. I'm a stress eater, and it doesn't mean stress eaters can still gain weight even if they're eating healthy food. And so I have to work on that. And things are improving, so I'm seeing a change. I'm not craving food anymore. I'm not going for second servings. So I'm on the right track. And I wake up and I get going with my day. I do sit for an hour. I drink my coffee, I read the Bible, I read stuff, I talk to my husband. A lot of things happen within that hour. And then I get up and I might exercise first. But before I go on with that, is I got this supplement, and I'm like, healthy fat burner. It could be good. And it looks so natural. So I looked up their website, which I do for all supplements, and I started seeing, okay, it looks like they have things. I didn't do enough research. I went on their site tonight because this is what happened to me. I took this, all right? I had big salad for lunch with some leftover chicken that I put in there. I had a really nice healthy salad for lunch. And so half an hour before I had my lunch, I had some water and I took a few supplements. The other supplements are supplements I take all the time. And that's what I'm talking about, the C and D and the zinc and the other one I take. Well, anyways, so I took this. I said, okay, I'm going to, start burning fat. Number one, a pill can't burn your fat, all right? There is no magic pill out there. It takes work. It doesn't mean overexercise. It doesn't mean starving yourself. It means being smart about what you put in your body and about what you do for yourself. So I took this. Within 10 minutes, I knew I had taken something wrong. See, when I took cilantro, I grabbed some in my garden. Because it tasted good, and I just started eating it. And then I put some on, and all of a sudden, I ended up with my chest hurting, a rash, my whole body turned red. I took this supplement. I had the same thing. And this happened a few months ago with another supplement I tried. I'm going to give you some key tips on how to look for supplements. So I took this, and all of a sudden what happens is my face turns red, my chest, my arms, my legs, my feet, my face, everything, and I feel it coming on, and I'm burning up, I'm itching, and it's almost like an anaphylactic, and maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I haven't talked to a doctor about this, and I need to. But it's new to me because this has never been an issue taking a supplement. So I felt like, okay, maybe it has cilantro in it, or maybe it has basil in it, or maybe it has something, even natural foods, natural herbs can do this. So I looked on the back of the bottle. You can barely read it because it's white letters on gray print. I really can't share the brand because some people might not have a reaction. But I went to the website, and plus, I don't like bad-mouthing companies that are trying to do good, so I'm going to give you some key things. So I went to the website to see what is in there that I would have a response to. The things that they've listed they're herbs that I use all the time. Not a problem. But there was a star and other items. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I never noticed that before. Because when I first got this, I thought, okay, this looks like a good brand. It had good reviews. It had all that. I made a mistake. And so, I think I bought this longer than 2 months ago. It might have been 6 months ago. And the expiration is still valid. So it's not like it's old and it's fresh. It was just opened. So one thing is to watch for when you're looking for supplements. And because you've had a conversation with your doctor, or you discover that you're you're low on iron, or you're low on vitamin A, or whatever, because you can get blood tests. Talk to your doctor on how you can figure that out. And I do recommend having a positive relationship with a physician because they're there to help you. And I realize there's a lot of people that say, get away from the doctors. We have a fear in our society right now for medicine and our care providers because there's been a lot of disservice. I get that. I experience it. And so I am just keen on trying and find. I have one physician I trust, and there's another one that I'm going to reach out to and see if maybe I might be able to get back to them. But anyways, and there's a reason I left them was because of the policies and everything else that were in the organization that they're a part of. Oh my gosh, truly, healthcare has changed. But we need to stop and think about, what about the physicians that are there for us? Your naturalists, the different ones that are there for you. Sadly, like when my Lyme disease doctor retired, he gave me a list of people. And sadly, they're very costly to go to. And I decided the number of years that I learned about Lyme, the number of years of working towards improving my health. And by the way, I'll tell you, the last few months, maybe the last few weeks to a month, I have been feeling really good. And I think this is awesome. So I had this supplement, and all of a sudden, 10 minutes in, I hadn't even started my salad. I've got the rash, and it's red marks all over. I'm red, I'm hot, all of that. First thing I do, and I always have activated charcoal on hand, because if you ever have an allergic reaction, that will help get things going. Now, I'm concerned about this happening because something's happened to my body over the years. Is it because of the Lyme treatment? Is it because my body is cleaning out all those chemicals? I'm not a scientist either. This is my theory. So as I clean up my diet, as I clean up all these things, I'm eating more natural foods. That's cool. And the other day, my husband made a rotisserie chicken. And one of the things he did was he likes stuffing. And I had 1 or 2 boxes left on the shelf from before. And so he says, I'm going to just make some stuffing. I said, yeah, that's fine. I didn't plan on eating it, but I had some. And I had a reaction to that. I never had one before. And I'm thinking, it's kind of like a self-analysis that I am really struggling with processed food and supplements. Now, there are some supplements that I do support. There's some companies out there that I don't have a response to, and when I take their product, I feel fabulous. Oh, another one I take is magnesium, and every other day I take some iron. Between those things, zinc, those things, I feel really good. And part of the reason I take magnesium, and I just take a small amount, like 200 milligrams, and I use the iron, is because it actually is making a difference. Now, I don't take tons of iron because I get iron in my red meats that I fry on a cast iron pan. So I'm getting plenty of iron in those foods. So I don't take a supplement the days I have the foods that are high in those. If I have a day that is just salad, even though I put chicken in today, I took my iron today. That's how I work it. I don't believe, and you can ask your physician, you can make a decision yourself. First of all, ask yourself, why are you taking the supplements? Are you taking it because you know your diet isn't good and you're trying to make sure you get the good nutrients that your body needs and your doctor says you're low on this? Ask your physician. Ask whoever it is that's giving you advice, is there anything I can do in my diet to get those nutrients? What am I missing? Now, when it comes to that, if you're going to ask them a question, you're going to have to be honest with them. And in that honesty, one of the things that you can ask before you go visit is make a journal. I have my journal around here somewhere. I'm doing a journal right now because there's a few things that I'm watching because I'm trying to schedule an appointment. It's going to be a few weeks, but I'm trying to journal it and just write some notes down. And I'm also keeping track of my weight, how often I exercise, what supplements I take, and then any other notes that might be pertinent to when I go in and have a discussion so that when I go in, we all know there's no time at a doctor's office. You can have a concise conversation. So this happened today, and I'm throwing this bottle out, and that's one thing, is when you try a new supplement, buy one bottle and know that you might end up throwing it away. Some companies will take these back, but because it was a couple months ago, I'm not. But you can return things. So that is a good thing. The thing is they cannot resell it. I don't know how you feel about that, but if they're selling a product that is causing a side effect, I think it's really important for them to know that. They might be able to do something else for you. Maybe there's another supplement they make that works for you, whatever the case may be. I wouldn't make a big tizzy about it in terms of what I would do is I will never buy from this brand again. That's why I will not share their name. They have other wonderful products with wonderful names and very, very tempting, but I'm choosing not to because if there's things in this, and I looked at some other supplements they sell, they have a star and other ingredients. I'm not going to do that because I need full transparency. When I talk about stuff, I try to be fully transparent, and so I expect that in return. So if that's not the case, I will be throwing these supplements out. Now, there are some others that are out there. I don't do name brands. I don't do like CVS. I don't do Walmart brands, and I'm talking supplements. I do not use a variety of brands. There are a few that I do use. Like I said, I'm not going to promote supplements on my YouTube channel because I really want to strongly advise you to do your research. But the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is ask yourself, why are you taking those supplements? Is there a reason? Are you missing something? Now, if you're somebody who doesn't want to eat meat ever because it's cruel to the animals, or because you just don't want red meat in your diet because somebody told you it was horrible for you, or maybe you have a condition that doesn't allow you. I know that there is a tick bite that causes some sort of an allergic reaction to meat. So there might be a reason there that you can't get your protein there. So there's other sources of protein that you're going to need to find. But that also means that you're not going to get iron like you would from the red meat. So what I'm suggesting is know why you want supplements. Honestly, supplements are expensive. I just told my husband today, I'm done. I will still get my iron. It's a liquid supplement that I take. I will still take magnesium because the two of them have helped my energy level, and they have also reduced my pain drastically. I still use turmeric that I make myself. So, but you can buy it. You can buy turmeric with black seed in it. You can buy turmeric with black pepperine. I make mine with black pepperine, plain and simple. And when I wake up and if I have a headache, and I haven't had one in a long time, it's something I take, or if I'm in pain. But also, I try to take it at least at night before I go to bed. So while I'm taking magnesium, another thing that you can do for pain is Epsom salts in your bath. Don't put a lot in because you won't. It actually wipes out a lot of your energy if you put too much in. But anyways, so I had this rash, and so the first thing I did, within 15 minutes, I'm having this allergic response. I just start eating my salad, and I'm like, oh no. It was annoying. So I immediately put my salad down. I got up. I got the activated charcoal. This is what happens when the activated charcoal starts to detox me. And I'm not into detoxes, by the way. I do not believe in them, and a lot of people do. I think the best way to detox your body is to stop consuming what is putting toxins into your body. And some of that are supplements. Chemicals from our antibiotics or other things can also add stuff. But if you need something like an antibiotic or something like that, most especially if you have an infection and you don't have a natural means to fix it right now, do what you have to make it get better. Now, and then just learn how you can do that on your own. But sometimes you can use natural means and it doesn't get better. But I want to get back to this detox. I use activated charcoal to get this system down. And I'm going to tell you what happens. When I get that response, my body gets really, really tired. I finished my salad because it was the only meal I had today, and it was late. It was around 2 o'clock, and I was beginning to get hungry. And I said, I got to eat. So I sat down after I took the first activated charcoal, because I always have 2 available to me. In the event I only need 1, I don't want to take 2. So what happens, even with taking 2, because I had to take another one, is I can feel everything settling down, and this is what happens. I still have the chronic itching, and it's itching on my feet and my legs. It's horrible. I didn't come on when that happened because it was like, oh. So I took the activated charcoal, I'm drinking water, finishing up my salad, and I'm still having the response. So number 2, activated charcoal goes in. What happens is my body then gets cold. That's why I'm in short sleeves. I'm still, because once my body comes back, I'm overly heated. And now I realize a lot of people might not know their bodies like this. I have been watching my body for a long time prior to Lyme so that I could tell my doctor what I was experiencing. And so I'm very much in tune with my body, very much in tune. And I think it sometimes drives the new docs a little crazy because I do know what can cause it. If I'm aware of it and I'm thinking, it's like, okay, what did I do different? I can tell them. I can tell them if something happens, the response that I might have from that. Anyways, so I get really cold and the itching continues. Then I get lightheaded. And these are symptoms that are still part of the toxin of whatever is in. You hear that jingle? That's the supplement. Whatever's in these supplements. What was interesting when I went to the site, this particular one is no longer being made. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So anyways, that's out of my system. So the other thing I have to do, because I can't get comfortable, my husband called and we talked during his lunch hour, and I told him it's happened again, and I said, I'm going to throw this supplement away, and this is the first time I've used it because I opened it today, and he says, Laura, you're reacting to a lot of things. I said, anything that has an additive in it, I am responding to, and I don't know how to stop this. So that's why I feel this is important to go see a care provider. Because when something is happening to your body, it's time to go beyond the herbs in your cupboard. It's time to have a discussion with somebody. Now, I'm not looking for medication. I'm not looking for anything in particular. I'm just sharing what I'm finding so that I can learn about me on why these things are bothering me. And the only conclusion I have is that as I detox, I'm going to call detox, but actually eliminate processed foods in my diet, my body can't handle the food if it has a preservative or other chemicals in it. And that's why when I say be very careful with your supplements, understand why you're taking them. I also believe that with herbs and stuff, part of the reason I don't tell you how to use herbs, and I will be sharing more throughout this upcoming year, the reason I don't tell you a protocol for Lyme disease is because my body is different than yours. There's no doubt about it. It's not just male-female. It is our body chemistries are very different. So what will work for me might not work for you. And I'm trying to share this. I share it often, maybe not often enough, because I want people to be better. I really do. The situation I'm on, I want this to go away. But when we say, okay, because when I first was just diagnosed with Lyme disease, my doctor said, you're going to find yourself in a Lyme groups. There's plenty out there. So I went on Facebook. Oh my gosh, there are tons of Lyme groups. And I got on almost all of them. I don't know. But I started getting off them because everybody was so negative. There was nobody sharing some positive insights. I'm not saying about getting healing, but positive, like encouraging and uplifting. One person gave me a whole slew of things that I needed to take, and she sent me a box of stuff. I thought that was lovely. But you see what I did, one thing that I always do, and I'm asking you to do, even when your doctor recommends something, before you take that medication, get that name written down so that you can go home and research it. Now, I don't think we should have to research it. The doctors should be able to print out something because they have access to it. So ask if they have it. Sometimes they just say, most people respond positively. You can still ask them, please do it in kindness for a printout. If they won't do it, when you get home, research it before you pick up the medication, okay? Because we shouldn't be on a medication. You can also ask your doctor not to prescribe it until you've had an opportunity to make a decision based on your research. It's not that you don't want to honor his suggestion. You want to understand what's in those medications or supplements or whatever it is that they might be recommending. Again, I am not ditching healthcare providers because I do believe, for the most part, most of them want us well. They are inundated with tons and tons of people coming in with loads of problems, and part of it again, in my opinion, is because of what we have in our environment, in our foods, in our supplements, in everything. So if we all take a step back, we might find that there are things that we can't do. So the next thing I did was, it wasn't going away. So I'm talking to him at dinner, and I told David, I said, okay, I'm going to get in the bath. I went in, I took a lukewarm bath. It was hot at first, but my tub doesn't stay hot because we've turned our water heater down so we don't get burned. And so I took a bath, I put some Epsom salts in, and I also put in some relaxing herbal powders that I'm used to. And as the temperatures came down, I put a little bit more warm water in, just so that I could relax, so that the burning would come off. And that's another reason not to get into a really hot bath. So I did that, and then and I was just listening to some YouTube people that I enjoy listening, that are positive type things. And so when I was done, I was cold because it wasn't a hot bath, and even if you have a hot bath, you come out. But when I got out and I dried off, my body had relaxed. That bath took that away. Now that worked for me, and it works often for me. Sometimes that reaction, depending on what it is, like when I first had cilantro, my reaction was I could barely walk because I took a big clump of it. And so I actually basically crawled into the room, laid down on my bed, because when I have that response, I'm exhausted. Now, I'm sharing this because a lot of people see that there's many of us who use herbs for health. Many of us use herbs in our cooking. Many of us use different products. What you need to do is to be knowledgeable of what might be bothering you. Now, you may not have a response like this. You might have other issues. You might have bloating all the time. So what foods or herbs and or both are you consuming on the daily that could be causing that? I know that gluten does that to me. And I had a little bit of that when my husband made the stuffing, but I had some other side effects from the stuffing. So I told him, I said, just make it for you, put it aside, and I'll just have potatoes and veggies and stuff, which I normally like. It's been a long time, a couple of years since I've had stuffing. It was like, oh, it was so tempting. And I paid for that. So I'm just sharing this experience because a lot of times things are happening to our bodies, and I'm talking about other people, and they don't understand why. And we go to our doctors and we say, hey, this is happening to me. I don't get it. And they might diagnose you with IBD, irritable bowel disease. And that was on my chart before I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, because they couldn't find anything. They did all sorts of tests, and it did not prove that. It wasn't until my Lyme specialist looked through, listened to me talk, and I was there for a hormone imbalance. But I didn't know he was a Lyme specialist until then. And then he started telling me what was going on, and then that's when I went on to this other test, and we discovered what was going on, and then my healing journey began. Now, I did not handle a lot of the antibiotics very well at all. I fought him on it. But every day was a journey, and I learned more and more about my body. But I also learned that it is okay to talk to your physician, your specialist, whomever, and just say you're struggling with it. If your physician does not have the compassion to listen, then you're with the wrong person. If they have the compassion, but it costs you an arm and a leg because they won't take your insurance, you might have the wrong physician. Now, as we get further and further with healthcare and stuff, and we're looking at insurance and stuff, we almost didn't renew our insurance policy. But we looked at the pros and cons, and we just decided, okay, right now, because of the distance my husband drives and stuff like that, we really need to have like an emergency insurance policy. But we don't spend an okay, I'm babbling. We don't buy the most expensive plan because it's not for us, because we're not at the doctors all the time. Or I used to be a long time ago, because the doctors kept having me do this and that, and they'd find nothing's wrong with you. And so I got tired of that. It's like, if you don't want to work with me. So as I transitioned, and it was mostly with trying to figure out what herbs worked for me, I decided I didn't need to have all those tests. I met some amazing doctors, some specialists that they would send me off to, amazing specialists. And there are some really great doctors out there. So I do urge you to build a positive relationship and ignore the social media out there. I say ignore it in the sense of stop being afraid. You don't have to go to the doctors for everything. If you've got a cold, stay home. Right now, the ERs are just busy because it's the viral season and they're not guaranteeing you a room, so go home. And there's things that you can do at home, and more importantly, you can rest. Hopefully your company is a good company that allows you to be out when you're sick. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Look at your bottles of supplements, okay? I'm going to close it on here. Check your supplements. Make sure every ingredient is listed. Every ingredient. If you have an allergy to glycerin, which I do, don't consume that product. Write to the company if you like their brand and ask them, do you have anything without glycerin? Now see, I make tinctures. I make alcohol tinctures, and I also make glycerin tinctures. It's a different type of glycerin I use, but I don't take I can't say the word. I don't take the glycerin one, but it's there for my husband because when he goes to work, even though the alcohol doesn't affect, the tincture itself doesn't bother us, we prefer that he not have it in his body when he goes to work if he wants to take that tincture. They're not shelf stable as long because alcohol lasts forever. But for him, that's what I do. And if the grandkids were over, that's an option if they needed it. I've not had to give my grandkids anything. They're not over very often, even when they were younger. I didn't give my grandkids anything without their mom knowing, and she made the decision. And that's another thing is I recommend that you not tell people, well, this works, you should try this. Look at your body, look at the bottle, and make a decision. And it is polite to say, no, I'm going to take the name down and I'm going to research it. And that way, if you're with friends, you can still chit-chat. But I wanted to get on here and share this because I had the reaction today. I'm disappointed that I don't have a pill to burn my body fat. So I guess I really need to work on this, right? I need cheerleaders back there. I've lost a few pounds, not enough. I expected it to be far better than what it is, but, one step at a time, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You just take one step at a time and make every effort possible. So look at the ingredients, find out its purpose. Now, if something has something you're already taking, okay, I take iron, magnesium, and I take vitamin D and A in the wintertime, those type of things. If a supplement has those things in it and a bunch of other things, ask yourself, do you need those things? And when it comes to your eating habits, and I'll say something very briefly, you might have daily requirements, but that does not mean you have to have steak, chicken, fish, peas, corn, carrots, lettuce, all of it in one day. Spread it out over the course of a week. You'll get your nutrients. We don't need to have that much food, and I think that's part of our problem when we struggle with weight loss. And so look at your supplements. Know your body. Start paying attention to when you have a reaction to something. Ask yourself, what did I take that's new? Another thing is when you start a supplement, make sure you take it by itself and see if you have a response within half an hour to an hour. Then take your next one. This way you know if it's a supplement that's causing it. If you try a new food, say you see a piece of fruit at the store and you want to try it. There's some really amazing fruit out there. You want to try it, but you're not sure if you're going to like it, and you're not sure if your body's going to like it. You don't know what kind of response. So just buy one. Because if you really like it and it's good and it makes you feel good, or it's enjoyable to have with your salads or your dinner, then you can go back and get more. You see, our country is full. We have so much stuff. And then, and I want to get back to the supplements. There's a lot of people who teach you about a variety of things. how to stay out of the doctor's office, how to take care of your body. But at the end, they're selling you supplements. Some of those people, not all of them, but some of them are actually giving you a lot of information that it's wonderful. Listen to what they're saying. But if they're selling a supplement, okay, that's a way that they're making some additional income. I don't begrudge anybody from making money because that helps put food on their table. But when that is what happens, you want to make sure you understand what is in their supplements. And if you agree with them, by all means, go for it. But you should be able to go on their website and see what ingredients are there. And that is key. If you don't know what an ingredient is, well, you can ask them. If you have an allergy to something, send them an email. I did that to one company about something, and they said, no, this has this in it. And I explained why I was asking. I said, I have an allergy, we'll just say glycerin, I think it was that. And they wrote back and said, they said, yes, we do have that in the proprietary blend. So something, that's another key. Proprietary, they will not tell you what is in that product. And that happened with my hormone replacement therapy. I was using compounds. When the compounds change to use a proprietary blend and they don't tell you what's in it because they don't want you copying it, then I had to go off because I was having infections from it. And they didn't understand, and so I just got off it. And that's what we have to do. So I hope it was helpful because I see too many people going in there and filling up their carts. And honestly, I have supplements too. My husband has some that he likes right now, and he's transitioning his diet because he's seen what has the good on me. But also, he needs to depend on food, not chemical products, not manufactured products. And like I said, I'm not ditching supplements. I'm ditching additives. And one of the things that you want to be really careful about is where you buy your supplements. I recommend not on Amazon. I know it's easy. You can order something and you have it in your in your mailbox within a few days, maybe a couple weeks. I don't recommend foods or supplements from them. So that's what I wanted to share. I want people to be healthy. I want them to have joy in their life, and I want them to understand what's happening to their bodies. If it's something that you can fix, it's still something like with this response I'm getting, I need to talk to somebody about it. But at the same time, I have a tool on hand. I recommend activated charcoal for everybody. And by the way, if all you have is the powder, you put it in a cup of tea, and it's okay too, because that way it gets into your system a lot faster. I make capsules, same powder, I just put it in a capsule because it's easier to grab, but it's a mess to make, honestly. But it's worthwhile, and they do have it out there to purchase, and there are some brands that I do trust, and maybe in the future I'll do a video on the brands that I trust. Sadly, as time has progressed, if they get bought out by big corporations, their quality changes, whether you want to believe that or not. You know, it doesn't matter, but if you watch over a course of a year, their product might not benefit you the same, and you might have some sort of reaction, or you find that it's not helping you anymore. So these are things I've learned over the course of many years. It's been, been 10 years since I was diagnosed with Lyme. It's been longer that I've been using supplements, and I've learned a lot about my body and what triggers it. Again, I am not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. When I come on and share stuff like supplements or recipes and stuff like that, it's just stuff that I enjoy sharing, stuff that we do. I'm not making money on this. Again, I'm not selling a supplement, and I'm not going to sell you any herbal blend that I put together right now. I might eventually do some herbal teas, but if I get there, it will list what is in there. So you have an idea of whether or not you are allergic to it. Say you're allergic to lavender. Some people don't do well with lavender, but you can make a lavender tea. If you're allergic to lavender, that's not going to work for you. So, friends, I hope you really are well. I hope that you're taking care of your bodies, and I hope that 2025 is going well for you. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you.